Welcome in, folks, to, of course, the Community Hour WRMN AM 1410. We've got Medicare made ABCDEasy. We've got Danny Gilly here on the phone lines. And, of course, thanks for joining in today. Hey, Danny, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, go ahead.
There you go. All right. We're all set for you, buddy.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for joining in today to Medicare Made ABCDEasy. And joining us today, we've got Danny Gilly.
Yes, good morning. Just want to give you a couple updates that we have. We have a number of workshops. The first one that we have is going to be on May 11th, right there in Elgin at 100 Simply Way in the center of Illinois. It's a 6:30 start time. May 12th, again at 6:30, Lamont Park District, 16050 West 127th Street in Lamont, Illinois. And on May 13th, 6:30 again, that's Schaumburg at 505 North Springs Grove Road in Schaumburg, Illinois. On May 18th, the Wheaton Community Center at 1777 South Blanchard Street in Wheaton, Illinois. Then we have our next one. Get my page out here. Oh, there it is. Okay, on the 20th at 6:30 is Carpentersville. It's at the Rolco Center. It's 665 Barrington Avenue in Carpentersville, Illinois. On the 27th, which is our last one for May, it'll be at 6:30 again at Westchester Public Library at 10700 Centerbury Street at Westchester. It's in a real nice library there. Now, we also have, if you missed these, you can get this information at ddginsurance.com, which is our website. You can also call 630-320-6906. It's our reservation line. So, again, you can call that number and leave your name and number and the date that you would like to attend, and we'll go ahead and enroll you in that program. So that's the latest of our workshops. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, what we're going to talk about today is basically getting started into Medicare. What actually is happening and how it works. Basically, Medicare is nothing more than an insurance program, and the Medicare, which is your Part A and Part B, is available to you by enrollment. Now, when you get ready to enroll, the best way to enroll is either one of two ways. You can call the Social Security office at mysocialsecurity.gov, or you can dial, go online to mysocialsecurity.gov and also enroll that way. You can actually go to your local office and enroll that way too. So there's a couple ways that you can enroll, and that's basically just getting your enrollment to get your Medicare card handy for you. Okay, so one of the other things that you've got to think about is when you enroll into your Medicare, you got to decide what type of program that you want to enroll with your Medicare. So what we're talking about is a Medicare supplement or an Advantage plan. And basically on those two plans, original Medicare is your Part A and Part B. Part A is the hospital. Part B is your doctor, anything to do with the medical. And that's what we're talking about when we talk about the hospital and then the doctor. The doctor also includes like your hospital, and it also includes durable equipment, anything to do with the going into the hospital that the doctor or nurses or whoever you see there. So let's see. Let me see. We get started here. I had to switch something else out here. I had to reboot my computer, so bear with me just a second. Okay. Also, one of the parts that you will find when you're looking for your coverage is, like I said, you're going to look for a supplement or an Advantage plan. And the supplement is where you stay with the original Medicare, and you combine the two cards, your Medicare and along with your Advantage or supplement. And it's pretty easy because in the supplement, it basically includes everything, like the doctor's office. It includes your Medicare, then, of course, the supplement to go with it. So hold on. Let me go here. Okay. My computer locked up on me. I'm all set. Okay, so the Medicare supplement is plans A through N, and it's also called the Medigap plan. So I'm going to go through exactly what it is, but in order to get your Medicare supplement card, you need your Part A and your Part B, okay? Like I said before, the Part A is the hospital insurance. Usually there is no premium due with people because they've worked 40 quarters and paid the Medicare taxes for the premium, so there's no cost for your Part A. And, of course, if you are a spouse that did not work but you were married and your married spouse did complete the 40 quarters, you get your coverage into Part A at no charge, too. Okay, let me go back to the Part A. What does Part A cover? Well, it covers your room aboard, your meals, your general nursing, hospital services and supplies, anything to deal with anything in the hospital room. It's for room and board only. Now, there's some deductibles. Now, in Part A, day 1 through day 60. Now, this is a Medicare deductible. It's $1,736 for 2026. Now, that's for day 1 through day 60. So you enroll, you go into the hospital on your first day, and you stay to your day 60. Then you go home, but you can go back and forth anytime during that 60-day period, and it's still the one-time charge. If you go beyond the 60-day, then that deductible is charged again. It's $1,736. Now, if you happen to need to stay in the hospital beyond that 60 days, which we really don't see that too often anymore, They usually try to get you in and out of the hospital as soon as possible. But let's say you stay in 61 days through 90, it goes to per day charge of $434. And then 91 days through 150, it goes up to $868. So that's one of the biggest charges on Medicare is that hospital charge. But I will show you how you can get that coverage and you don't have that. Also with your Part A is skilled nursing facility, and that's for rehab only. So let me give you an example. You go into the hospital and you have a knee replacement. You're in the hospital for 3 days. Then they move you to a rehab center. At that point, Medicare pays the 0 to 20. They pay 100% of that. The goal is to get you back up and get you back home so that you get yourself ready. That 20-day period, it's designed to get you ready to go back home. Now, if you're not ready to go home after 20 days, then you stay beyond like 21 through 100, it's $217 per day. After 101 days, there is no more coverage, and you're responsible for all the costs of any additional long-term care needs. So don't misconstrue the skilled nursing facility care co-insurance. It is not long-term care. It is strictly designed to get you back up and back home. And again, that's only for up to day 100. Then you're on your own. Now let's talk about Part B. Now, the reason why I'm trying to go over this is because that way you know what Part A and what Part B is. This is especially important if there's anybody out there that has not enrolled into Medicare and they want to know exactly what's going on and what they have to do. So again, you can enroll through 1-800 Social Security office, mysocialsecurity.gov. So that's how you enroll. There is not a Medicare office. Everything is done through the Social Security office, okay? Premiums are deducted from your Social Security checks for those that are drawing Social Security. If you're not drawing Social Security, don't worry, they will bill you on a quarterly basis, or you can set up an EFT program out of a checking or savings account. And then there's also the state Medicaid programs. State pays premiums for those who meet income and asset guidelines. Now, what is Part B? Okay, the enrollment into Part B is optional. You don't have to take it if you don't want to. But remember, that's everything to do with doctors. So if you don't enroll into Medicare during your option that you need to enroll into Medicare, then there's a 10% penalty for every 12 months period that you were eligible and you did not enroll. And you have to pay for that as long as you utilize Part B. Now, there's limited exceptions. One of the biggest limited exception is if you have credible coverage. So you have your group coverage, and you find out, it's awesome. You love the group coverage. It does everything that you want it to do. You could be 90 years old and still working and drawing your group coverage and through your employer, especially if he has over 20 employees, and then you meet that, and there is not a penalty. Now, initial enrollment into Medicare is what we call the IEP. It's for 7 months. So it's 3 months before the month of your eligibility. So let's just say your birth date or retirement date is April. Well, your a 3-month period starting for that so that you can get enrolled and get the time set for April 1st. Because anytime, if your birthday's the 15th, it doesn't matter. It starts on the 1st. So you go from January, February, March, and then April 1 is when your coverage would start. But if you are a person that procrastinates, they do give you May, June, and July to July 31st. And at that point, you need to be enrolled into Medicare if you do not have group coverage that you are set up with hospital, doctor, and also prescription drug coverage. So anyway, if the initial coverage we know is the IEP for 7 months, and if you miss that and you got to go into general enrollment period, January through March 31st of each year. So coverage will be effective the month after you sign up. Okay, now, that's so that if you do miss it, you do get a chance to enroll in, but again, you're going to end up paying that 10% penalty for late enrollment. Now, there's an annual deductible for Part B. This is not a typo. It's $283 per year. So you are responsible for the $283 that gives you the right for that Part B. Now, then Part B covers 80% of your co-insurance, and you are responsible for 20. So Medicare picks up 80%, and you are responsible for the other 20. That's one of the loopholes or costs that you have, cost sharing that you have. And again, I'm going to show you how to cover some of those costs as we go forward. I just wanted to go through Part A and Part B first. Now let's talk about prescription drugs. Now, in prescription drugs, you have a couple of choices. There's a standalone drug plan if you're going to enroll into a supplement. Now, if you roll into an Advantage plan, they include the prescription drug plans into all their plans except the ones that are designed for veterans. Okay, what is your Part D, and who's eligible? Anyone who is enrolled into Medicare Part A and or Part B permanently reside in a service area. That just means if you live in Elgin, then you're going to have to pick the companies that are available in your service area. You cannot pick out a drug plan in Florida if you live in Elgin. That's all that means. Okay, also, there are some people out there that will qualify for Medicare and Medicaid, which we call dual eligible. People can choose to enroll, but if you do not enroll during that enrollment period, then there's higher premiums for people who wait. There's an exception, of course, with that again, is if you have credible coverage that is good as Medicare, prescription drug, example of VA drug benefits, an employer group plan, SNAP program, those things, then there is not a penalty. The penalty, though, is 1% for every month that you were not enrolled and you should have been, and that's on the average drug plan cost, which is right around $30. Okay, so let's talk about, and before we go on to talk about the difference in pricing that you're going to be responsible for, the Inflation Reduction Act that was signed into law in August of 2022, and it caps out-of-the-pocket Medicare Part D costs at $2,000 that started in 2025. Now, 2026, it went up to $2,100. What that basically means, if you have $2,100 out of pocket for medication that Part D that you actually got from your Part D drug plan, it maxes out at $2,100. Anything after that, there is no additional coverage. You max out at that. Okay, let's look at Medicare supplements. How do they work? Well, Medicare supplements are really pretty simple because whatever Medicare doesn't cover, in other words, that 20% copay, all of that you had from Part A for the deductible, from day 1 to day 60, the each day charge, all of that would be picked up by your Medicare supplement insurance. So what you do is you would purchase the Medicare supplement to supplement your original Medicare. There are more than 50 carriers with the exact same plans. Now, I want you to think about the Medicare supplement because it's made by Medicare. Think of it as a can of Coke. Okay, you can buy a can of Coke at all kinds of drug stores, grocery stores, gas stations. Okay, these people don't make or bottle that can of Coke in the back room. It's delivered to them by the Coca-Cola company. The same thing holds true with Medicare supplements. So if you look at the different plans, which will probably be Plan G or Plan N, that's what the most popular plans are. Either one of those plans, just think of it as a can of Coke. It's made by Medicare, and it's given to all the insurance companies to sell. So if somebody says to you, well, my Plan G is the best Plan G out there and available to you. Well, they're telling you that that can of Coke that they have is the best can of Coke. So I want you to realize that that's basically what they're trying to say to you. I think it's time for our break. And as soon as I come back, I'm going to continue on talking about the Medicare supplements, and then we'll move into the Advantage side.
Looking to set sail on your dream vacation? Cruises International has you covered. Specializing in land and sea getaways, they're here to make your vacation unforgettable. Located at 1721 Moon Lake Boulevard in Hoffman Estates, they offer personalized service with a global network of specialists to ensure your trip is tailor-made just for you. Call today at 800-255-7447 to speak with a cruise and vacation expert. And don't miss Travel Tuesdays on WRMN AM 1410 every first Tuesday of the month from 11 to 12 p.m. on Out to Lunch. That's Cruises International. Your vacation, your way.
Hi, this is Sue with Newman's Corner Pub in Hampshire, Illinois. Are you looking for the perfect hangout spot? Swing by Newman's Corner Pub right at the corner of 72 and State Street in Hampshire. Enjoy fantastic drinks, live music, and a fun crowd that makes every visit special. Test your luck with our hot slots and our Queen of Hearts drawing every Saturday at 3 p.m. Challenge your friends to darts or pool while you're here. Newman's Corner Pub, where every day feels like a weekend. Visit us at Route 72 and State Street in Hampshire. That's Newman's Corner Pub, your new favorite spot.
My name is Ariel. I moved to the U.S. at 19. I spoke no English and I struggled finding job opportunities. Everything I have, I owe to the Adult Literacy Center and getting my high school diploma at age 22.
It was an honor helping you achieve your greatness. Now you're helping others achieve theirs. It inspires me.
When you graduate, they graduate. Find free and supportive adult education centers near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Ever tried balancing a dozen eggs in one hand while hopping on one foot? Or maybe juggling cats while riding the unicycle? Sounds ridiculous, right? But guess what? That's exactly what texting while driving is like. Your human brain only has the capacity to focus on one thing at a time. So when you're behind the wheel, give driving your undivided attention.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Most people out here think that taking care of one another is important. And most people would step up for a neighbor going through a tough time. Most people around here help out friends and family when they need it. But the funny thing is, most of us won't look for help when we need it. If you're struggling with mental health, you should know that there are resources out there that can help. And it's okay to talk about it if you need to. One place to get started with information is loveyourmindtoday.org. Loveyourmindtoday.org offers a range of guides, instructions, and insights for dealing with difficult situations or getting through a tough time. If you're struggling with mental health, get the help you need, because most people out here really care. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
A loved one owns a gun, and for a while now, you've been concerned about their behavior. They're just not acting like themselves. They've been distant, they've been unpredictable, they've been lashing out. They've been saying things that make you worried they might harm themselves or friends or family. Or you're worried this loved one might hurt you. Maybe they recently threatened someone with their gun. You know something needs to be done, and you wish more than anything you could hit pause on this situation. Well, here in Illinois, you can, with a firearm restraining order. In extreme cases, this order temporarily prevents a person in crisis from having a firearm, giving them time to heal before they do something dangerous or even deadly. If you are worried about a loved one in crisis who has access to a firearm, learn more about firearm restraining orders at illinois.gov/pause to heal. A public service announcement brought to you by the Illinois Department of Public Health, Brady, and the Ad Council.
And welcome back, folks, to Medicare Made ABCDEasy. We've got Danny Gilly on the phone lines coming on through. And we're ready for you, Danny. I don't know, maybe he left his phone there for a bit. Danny, if you can hear me, we are ready for you to come onto the air. All right, just hang on 1 second here. I'll get him on the airwaves. Stay tuned. Looking to set sail on your dream vacation? Cruises International has you covered. Specializing in land and sea getaways, they're here to make your vacation unforgettable. Located at 1721 Moon Lake Boulevard in Hoffman Estates, they offer personalized service with a global network of specialists to ensure your trip is tailor-made just for you. Call today at 800-255-7447 to speak with a cruise and vacation expert. And don't miss Travel Tuesdays on WRMN AM 1410 every first Tuesday of the month from 11 to 12 p.m. on Out to Lunch. That's Cruises International. Your vacation, your way.
Hi, this is Sue with Newman's Corner Pub in Hampshire, Illinois. Are you looking for the perfect hangout spot? Swing by Newman's Corner Pub right at the corner of 72 and State Street in Hampshire. Enjoy fantastic drinks, live music, and a fun crowd that makes every visit special. Test your luck with our hot slots and our Queen of Hearts drawing every Saturday at 3 p.m. Challenge your friends to darts or pool while you're here. Newman's Corner Pub, where every day feels like a weekend. Visit us at Route 72 and State Street in Hampshire. That's Newman's Corner Pub, your new favorite spot.
And we are back here on the air. I've got Danny Gilly with us. Thanks so much for tuning in today.
Okay, I'm all ready. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, we'll get started. All right, I'm going to go over some of the workshops that we have in the area. May 11th at 6:30 at the Elgin Center of Elgin at 100 Symphony Way. On the 12th at 6:30, the Lamont Park District in Lamont, Illinois. On the 13th at the Schaumburg at 5 Regency Room at the 505 North Springsgrove Road in Schaumburg. On the 18th at the Wheaton Community Center at 1777 South Blanchard in Wheaton, Illinois. And then on the 20th, will be at Carpentersville Center at 665 Barrington Avenue in Carpentersville, Illinois. And then our last one is on the 27th. Again, that's at a 6:30 start time at the Westchester Public Library at 10700 Centerbury Street in Westchester. Okay, so let's go back to following up after talking about Medicare supplements. Again, Medicare makes the supplements. So the only difference in a Plan G or a Plan N is basically what company you buy it from. The price may be different. Just like that can of Coke may have a different pricing depending on where you purchase it. So that's the only difference. The plan is the exact health coverage. It doesn't matter because Plan G and Plan N is made by Medicare. So that's if you're going to think of a supplement, that's why I want to focus on that because that's the way it works. And also because you're on a supplement, you will have to pick up a prescription drug plan to go with it, a standalone drug plan. And one of the things about Medicare, original Medicare, along with a supplement, it's a little bit easier to get coverage as far as if you need anything. It just has to be medically necessary. So let's talk about Medicare Advantage plans. Okay, Medicare Advantage plans, they're in networks. I'm sure if you were in a coverage through a group insurance like your employer, they had networks. It would have probably been an HMO or a PPO. Okay, on networks, you go to certain doctors, has to be in that network. The hospital has to be in that network. And it's all set up on co-pays. It's a shared expense plan. Whereas the supplement, you pay so much a month and your deductible, and then everything else is covered thereafter. There are no health questions as far as when you enroll into Medicare for the first time, and then any Medicare supplement company will accept you because it's guaranteed issue. Now, there's on Medicare Advantage plans, they basically accept anybody because it is an Advantage plan. Now, there are no co-pays with the supplement. Like I said, in Plan G, you pay the deductible for Plan G, and then that's all you pay besides the monthly premium. You could have $1 million claim and basically only pay the annual deductible, and then everything else is covered. On this Advantage plan, because it is a co-pay with share expenses, there's generally not any charges by the month, but it isn't free. So give you an example. If you go into the hospital and you stay in the hospital for 6 days, there's going to be a per-day charge. Some of them can be right around $300, and after the first 7 days, then they pick up the rest of them. So that's one of the larger charges in the Advantage side. If you have any dye testing done, like an MRI, you can look at the copay on the MRI. Your PCP doctor is usually at no charge, but if you go to the specialist, then of course there's going to be a charge for the specialist. Now, if you have an HMO, you have to stay in network. You can't go outside of network because you will not have any coverage. But if you pick up a PPO, you can either go in network or out of network. But if you go out of network, those co-charges, the copay charges, are usually double or even higher than that. So it's important that if you do select an Advantage plan, try to stay in network. It's going to be cheaper for you. Now, on the Medicare Advantage plan, there is no deductible. But again, there's a certain set amount for the out-of-pocket. So if you add up all of the copays that you have, each one of the plans will have a maximum charge of all the copays. That way you know it's maxed out. In other words, it doesn't, once you hit that certain level, and usually the HMOs are going to be a little bit lower, the PPOs are going to be a little bit higher. But once that is covered, then there's no additional out-of-pocket charges. On the Advantage plan, the prescription drug plan is included. So when you get ready to decide which type of plan you want, that's where you have to really think about it. The big difference in the Medicare supplement, you can go to any doctor or any hospital in the United States that takes Medicare. So that's every hospital takes Medicare. So you have to make sure that your doctor takes Medicare is really the only thing they have to worry about. And usually the ones that are in networks will take the Medicare supplement and the doctors. So once you have your supplement, you don't have to worry about, well, how about if I'm in Florida? What happens, especially if I go to Florida only in the winter months and I want to make sure I can go to any doctor? Well, then you want to look at a supplement. On the Advantage side, if you have an emergency, you can go to any hospital and you're covered. As soon as they get you stabilized, then they will send you to your hospital in your network. So keep in mind, on the supplement, you can go to any doctor, any hospital, and that if you want to go to Johns Hopkins, you can take that supplement and go. You know, the UW Hospital in Madison, you can take that supplement and go. So what I'm saying is any doctor, any hospital, you'll be able to utilize that supplement. The Advantage plans are a little bit different because they're in networks. So they're a little more restrictive. I have some clients that love the Advantage plan because they're healthy and they only go to the doctor once a year for their medication, and it's the cheapest thing for them. Now, again, I have some clients that have some health issues, and they want to have that freedom to go to whatever doctor they feel best, especially if they have a heart issue and they want to go to a cardiologist and they want to go to a specialist that specializes in that field. And it may not be like on the Advantage side, it would have to be in that network. But here you go outside of network because there are no networks. It's just Medicare. So that's kind of the differences between the Advantage side and the supplement side. Now, what I like to do is when I sit down with a client, I like to educate them exactly how each program works. And then they can decide exactly which plan is most suitable for them. Excuse me. There really is not a right or wrong decision between the supplement or the Advantage plan. It's which you feel more comfortable with. People that do a lot of traveling outside of their local area usually tend to want to go with the Medicare supplement. People that have health issues tend to want to go to supplements because of the ease that they can select doctors and hospitals. Some people with certain issues, like maybe they're a diabetic, they might want to do an Advantage plan because they have certain programs for diabetics. So it really depends on the individual, and that's why when I sit down with an individual, we go through everything to make sure that that decision that you make between that Medicare supplement and that Advantage plan is exactly what you're looking for. Okay, let's go through. The Part B expense is $202.90 in 2026. That went up just a small amount from last year. And so again, whether you have a supplement or an Advantage plan, you still have to pay that $202.90 Part B expense. Now, let's talk about election periods. Now, the election periods, enrollment into an MA or PDP only. This is what you have, that annual election period. That's not the initial, because initial is the 7-month one, but we're talking about the annual election period. It's an open enrollment period, October 15th through December 7th. It has no bearing on the supplement. It's only for an MA, which is an Advantage plan, and the prescription drug plan. This is the only time of the year that you can make that change in that prescription drug plan. So if you have a standalone drug plan and you call me on December 8th and say, I forgot to call you, I need to change that prescription drug plan, I have to tell you, I'm sorry, you're going to stay on the same plan you had last year because there's no changes. So October 15th to December 7th is the deadline. Now, on the Advantage side, they do have a Medicare Advantage open enrollment period. So if you miss that one, October 15th through December 7th, and you go to your doctor and you find out that, oh, my God, they dropped that particular insurance program. They no longer take it. Well, January 1 through March 31st, you can disenroll from that MAPD that you had and go back to original Medicare, Part A and Part B, select a supplement, and pick up a drug plan if you so desire. Or you can select a different MAPD.
Hey, Danny, we have a caller on hold.
Okay, I can take them now if you like. It's a good time.
Absolutely. Hi, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Oh, morning. Yeah, you're talking about Medicare.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I just recently signed on to it, and I was lucky enough to have known a whole bunch of people with the Gray Panthers, and they were very knowledgeable about the origins of Medicare, and then the supplements and how basically the HMOs sneaked their way onto Medicare. And they told me to never sign on to anything but A and B. Don't touch the rest of them. I think the original Medicare had a Part E that basically was also funded by the taxpayer. Well, actually, by the the individual.
Well,
and
what you're talking about, Medicare is broken down into Part A and Part B. Okay, so for original Medicare would have Part A and Part B. That would be your hospital coverage, and Part B would be your doctor coverage. Now, What they're saying to you is not go to an Advantage plan, to stay strictly with your original Medicare, I think is what they're telling you.
Sure.
Now,
because it's the middlemen getting a cut of what would be rightfully yours. And then those middlemen say that you're not going to get covered unless you give them a piece of the action. And so they're basically saying, Part B is cheating us.
Well, Part B is the doctor coverage. So it would be anything to do.
D is what cheats you. A and B are good, but D is where the middlemen sneak in.
Well, Part D is the prescription drug plan. So if you have original Medicare, Part A and Part B, you would need a prescription drug plan to go with that.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
All right, I dropped him.
Well, hello?
No, he dropped.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, he didn't quite understand exactly what that meant. So if you just have Part A and Part B and no drug coverage and you need medication, it's going to be pretty expensive. Some of those medications go pretty high. Okay, so what I was also talking about is the Medicare Advantage open enrollment period, January 1 through March 31st. So if you do make that mistake in the Advantage plan, enroll in January with a start date in February. February, enroll with a start date in March. March, enroll with a start date in April. And after that, there are no more changes for that year. Then you're stuck with what you already have. But remember, this is only for an MAPD Advantage plan and prescription drug plan. Now, on the supplements, they usually do theirs basically, you get a notification if there's going to be a rate increase when it's your anniversary. So let's say you signed into in January into that Medicare supplement. Well, you're going to get a letter about 60 days prior saying we're going to have a rate increase. And not always do they have a rate increase, but if they're going to have one, that's usually how that works. Now, so long as you pay your premium with that Medicare supplement, they cannot cancel you. So, because I've had some questions where they say, well, what happens if I get cancer? Can they cancel me because I've used the program too much? No. The only way that they can remove you is from non-payment. That's it. Okay? Now, also going through that is if you do get that letter and it says a rate increase and you call me up and say, Danny, can you check out to see if there's another plan out there that's cheaper? Well, in a Medicare supplement, outside of your initial enrollment into Medicare, They can ask you health questions. And then it's up to the insurance company to accept you. It is not like the Obamacare where they accept everybody. In Medicare world, they can decline you. So that's why I say that we are very fortunate in the state of Illinois. There is one company that has Medicare supplements that do not ask any health questions whatsoever. So they'll take anybody. The only difference is their premiums are a little bit higher. But that's kind of the trade-off, especially with Medicare supplements. Okay, let's go through. If the question that comes up a lot is, if I'm still working, do I have to enroll into Medicare? Because I have group coverage where I work, and I like my group coverage. Again, if you take one thing out of today, so long as you have group coverage, it's over 20 employees, you can stay on that group plan as long as you're working and you never have to even roll into your Medicare. Now, if you have an insurance program through your employer, that is one of those SA programs, then you don't take Part A either, okay? So in that particular case, you don't do either one. If you don't have that type of a program, you can enroll into Part A. But I can tell you it won't pay anything. Your group coverage will still cover you. It would just get you into the system. So that's the one thing that you want to look out for. Now, if you're collecting Social Security, you don't have to worry about it because that Medicare card's going to come to you automatically. And you say, well, yeah, Danny, but I don't want my Medicare right now because I have good group insurance. Well, then you just flip the card over and decline Part B, send it back, and they'll send you out a card with Part A. I think what I'll do is just go over, because I'm running almost out of time, I want to make sure we get these locations in that we have the seminars. So May 11th in Elgin. So in Elgin, for everybody in Elgin that's listening, May 11th at 6:30, right in the center of Elgin. It's usually a really popular workshop, too. May 12th is in Lamont Park District in Lamont, Illinois. May 13th is in the Schaumburg, 505 North Springgroth Road in Schaumburg. May 18th is in the Wheaton Community Center in Wheaton, Illinois. Follow up in Carpentersville on the 20th at 665 Barrington Avenue in Carpentersville. And then on the 27th at Westchester Public Library in Westchester. That's all the information I have for this month, and I'll see you the first Tuesday of next month. Thank you.